I was, I am, I will be. I'm not just learning English. It's a note about a German film with its name. Emotional, interesting, sad, and uplifting on some notes. Marian is a pilot, a woman pilot, that meets Baran, a man who wants to reach the West, Germany in particular. Like so many millions, there have been millions that found a home in Germany, but tens of millions more, perhaps, well, not perhaps, surely hundreds of millions. I have to keep increasing this figure. Over 1 billion would like to find a better life. We all want to. I'm ending up with speaking of the whole planet, well, except for a few billionaires who envy each other. One who has less wants to have more. In fact, come to think of it, let me just say that there is a quote, H.L. Mencken, quote, I will have to paraphrase that, I don't know exactly how he said it, but it's something like, wealth is when you have $100 more at the paycheck, $100 more than your wife's sister's husband. So that's how we assess our fortune. And quite often happiness we compare with others, and then when we find a deficit, we're unhappy. Indeed, a study has shown that people in tests would rather live in a situation wherein they have, I'm just giving approximate figures and they will give an idea, a situation where they have, let's say something like $80,000 per year, and the others have 65. So they prefer this than the alternative, than the scenario where they have much more, they have 140,000, but the rest have more, 155, let's say. So it doesn't matter that they get close to twice as much. If others have more than they do, they're not happy. They would rather have much less, but more than the others. So that's interestingly enough. So anyway, Baran wants to travel. He suggests that she marries him. She refuses in the first place. She's quite sharp and cold and brisk, but then she changes her mind. The story is complicated, and does marry him, setting some conditions, some limits. He has a place where he can stay. She will give him some money. He needs quite a few things. He needs a driving license in order to get a job. But there is a detachment. Indeed, at one point, let me anticipate, he will say to somebody in Turkey, they're cold. What? I will not. I can't say, because it's more. It will reveal what happens later, quite late in the narrative. So let me backtrack a little. Anyway, he's unhappy that they were cold. And actually, my experience was not happy when traveling through Germany. I also thought they're cold and arrogant, and they despise foreigners. So I don't know. That was right after the fall of the Berlin Wall, when we have been liberated. So there are complications, because our pilot, Marian, is ill. She has cancer, actually. She has of the breast. She has surgery and breasts removed. So there's a trauma for you. And there's adversity and problems for the man. She offers and gets him a job at the airport where she knows people. She's a pilot, as I said. But even for a menial, for a temporary, for a Praktikant, Germans would have it, he will get 400 euros per month, very little. He would emphasize, well, 400, I have to give a little more than 400 for rent. So what will I do for? And so you have two alternatives. I will give you 2,000 Deutschmarks you need, the 2,000 you need for the school and the driving's license. And then you'll get a proper job when you make more money. So, and she keeps challenging him in that she'll ask him at one point, well, what, you say you're happy, but what will you do? I mean, will you carry luggage? He's a baggage handler. And then actually he thinks and knows that he's not happy with this, but they're very limited spaces and possibilities for him. So that's part of the frustration. However, the two get closer together, even if there is another difference separating them. She is older, considerably older in conventional terms. So these have to go. I mean, we can't think like in the Middle Ages. But I'm just thinking 20 years difference, perhaps that's the number of years separating the two is generally a serious obstacle. But they appear to be on the point of overcoming this cultural differences, differences of education. She likes and she goes to classical music concerts. Indeed, she had a rather vicious lover who is a musician, and he keeps coming up with some insults and ironies and accusations, and one of which has to do with this concert where Baran has earphones with him, so the musician thinks it's so you could listen to something else because you wouldn't like elevated, superior, erudite music. Actually, he's wearing them because he's serious, he's diligent, he's studying his German, which he needs. In 3 years' time, he will have to pass a test to become a citizen, or if he fails, he will not be. So, it's like as I said, this is not one of the best. Indeed, speaking of Germans, German movies, I've seen and noted a few days ago, Never Look Away. And that was better. But still, this was a serious work. Worthwhile. Good movie.